Be advised, the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
You are what you watch.
Hello, my name is Harrington Watco and welcome to our program, Talk to Harry. Let's see, breaking news, you've got the issues in Egypt. Let's see. El Baradei steps up. He becomes more popular as Mubarak steps down. What does all this mean to us? I wrote a column in their weekly magazine called Opinion, but I guess you're going to have to check that out to see exactly what my points of views are as far as the issues there in Egypt. You have to look at it holistically and how it happens, and you have to go down into history to be able to analyze the issues that are being confronted. Of course, there's the money angle. There's always the money angle. There's always the superpower called the US of A. Now, that does not necessarily relieve us of the problems, the conflicts that go on in the other side of the world. Alam niyo po, dito sa Pilipinas, ito yung mga issues na humaharap po sa atin. Natawag dito terorismo. Terrorism and crime. Is there a difference? It's one and the same, isn't it? But one, the first being perpetuated by a group that has an advocacy or what you call a religion of sorts. Let's call them the fundamentalist left. And then you have the criminals, those who are actually doing things basically for return for money or what you call income. And they just want to grab it either way. The country has been gripped with both terrorism and crime just in the last 2 weeks. Case in point would be the bus that blew up the other day. And until now, we can't seem to figure out who exactly or who to blame. But let's look at it very simply. Who's going to blow up a bus and just let the public blow up or die? Basta-basta ganun lang po, no? Alam natin yung isa, yung kay Lozano, kay Evangelista. Yun, mukhang may racket talaga doon. Mukhang nagkahulihan na. Now, exactly where are we and what should we discuss and what is pertinent to us? Should we discuss Egypt and what's going on around the world? Pakikialaman kaya, maintindihan kaya ng mamayang Pilipino? Do we have any issues with it? Or should we discuss our issues? Of course we discuss our issues. But you know, either way, if you were to pull back this camera, so to speak, and look at it in a holistic approach, everything one way or another is connected. Now, we've got a thriving economy, we've got a thriving democracy. Of course, prices keep going up. This is what we call the gifts that the administration has given us. Fault or no fault. Either way, I will stop my annotation and introduce to you our guests. With us, we have to co-host with me and to guest. He always comes on the show from time to time. We have Dr. Frank Grego, historian, editor of Congress Magazine, as well as the man behind the 18 or 19 years now of what we call the Most Outstanding Congressman Awards, which will be staged on February 16, February 16 at the Manila Hotel. And the other person, our other guest we've asked to come, is from the ANAD party list. He is the National Vice President for the Congress Party List. We have Tito Porras. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the program. Maraming salamat. Buti nakuha natin sa ANAD, no, si Tito. June Alcover, the representative, is not available because he's giving a privileged speech today. And he is the front man, so to speak, the proper representative. But ANAD party list is not the work of one person, but an advocacy to save the country from what is called communism. Let's tag communism. Let's equate natin communism, terrorism, equate again NPA. Pare-pareho din naman ang labanan po niyan. Let's hear from Tito. Kamusta na po? You've got your magazine, ladies and gentlemen. Ito po, they have, weekly ba po ito?
As of now, Monthly pa lang yan. as of the
Monthly,
moment.
okay. They have a magazine. And they are straight to the point, no holds barred, and they study exactly and they show you exactly what goes on. It's a 2-page, 4-page colored readout. And it tells you, pag hindi nabibili, hindi nila mahanap sa Kali po ito, nasa website naman to. No?
Opo, meron.
Nasa website ng ANAD. Hanapin nyo lang po, www as usual and ANAD. Kamusta na po ang terrorism? Pag-usapan natin yung bago nangyari last week. What do you think, Doctor? Yung terrorism sa Buendia. EDSA and Buendia, pinaputok, napakalakas na bomba, and maraming nasugatan, ang dami na namatay. Terrorism, crime, regular crime.
Well, una siguro, Hari, salamat na inibitahan nyo kami sa program na ito. At in behalf mga kasama ni Congressman June Alcoberna sa mga oras na ito ay busy sa Kongreso, ito po yung abang lingkod na kahit paano, we will deliver to you all the informations batay ho sa mga kaganapan ngayon sa aktibidades ng Alliance for Nationalism and Democracy. Na question dito sa nangyari nung nakaraang linggo. Alam mo, walang isang normal na tao, Hari, nagagawa ng bagay na ito na walang purpose. Pero alam mo, kami nagtataka. Napakabilis ng Communist Party sa pamamagitan ng kanilang website. I think ang spokesman nila doon, si Marco Balbuena, sa pagkondina ng insidenteng ito. Na ito ay kagagawan di umano ng mga grupo within the military para bigyan ng kulay at bigyan ng isang anggulo na kuno CPP, NPA at mga MILF ang may kagagawan nito. Alam niyo mga kababayan, ang sitwasyon na ito is just like what happened during the Plaza Miranda. Noong August 21, 1971, binomba ang rally ng Liberal Party sa Plaza Miranda. Otomatiko na nagpalabas ng statement si Jose Marasison na ang may kagagawan ng pambobomba ay ang diktadorya na rehimen ni Marcos. At porke nung oras na yon ay medyo mabaho ang administrasyong Marcos, abay, isa ito sa paraan para hatakin ang oposisyon na tumahak sa revolusyonaryo at armadong pakikibaka. Many years later, no less than Senator Jovito Salonga, sa kanyang libro To Build a Better Nation, page number 65, in-expose niya ang utak sa pambobomba sa Plaza Miranda ay si Jose Maria Sison. For the reason, to create a quantum leap in a revolutionary situation at mahatak ang mamamayan para sa revolusyon. Ganon din ang sitwasyon ngayon. Timely. Masyadong timely. Kita nyo, the issues ng carnapping, the issues ng mga hold-ups, at marami pang kung ano mga pangyayari, at palabasin na walang kakwenta-kwentang administrasyon ni Noynoy. Simple as that. So, itong sitwasyon, pumasok pa sila sa peace talk. So, isang pag-create ng sitwasyon na kinakailangang magkaroon ng coalition government, yun ang kababagsakan ng peace talk. Pag-usapan natin mamaya yan.
So, basically, destabilization, confusion, chaos, sowing chaos, because these are the tools of the trade of the communist Maoist group. Kayo po, Doctor, what's your analysis in the ongoing activities? Alam mo, there's another angle, Dr. Ma, ang sinasabi niya dito, or sinabi ng going back into history kay Jovito Salonga in his book. First, they said that it's not true, di ba? Work of the military. It's been going around the whole week. Sinasabi the work of the intelligence. Machiavellian ang approach. Create a scenario that you can control. Kayo, Doctor.
That was where I doubted the sanity of Jovito Salonga.
Okay.
Because he was the one, in 1971, he was a victim of that bombing that Tito Porras was trying to recall. And he was also, as one of those who immediately came out with a statement that it was the military who did it. I agreed with him on that. But since now he's making a turnaround, as I said in my premise, that's where I started to doubt on the sanity of Salonga. When I say that it was the military who did that, I referred to the military of yesteryears, 30 years ago. Because I myself, I was a reporter at the time, and one of those victims who was right there was our photographer, Guilas Angel. Guilas was there.
Ano yung namatay?
Buhay, pero medyo lumabo ang mata.
Sige. Main.
He himself saw it, and I had no reason to doubt him because we were together for so many years in the magazine of Jerry Rojas, Araneta Publications, yung Weekly Nation. Yeah. And after that, Guilas was even approached. Pare, wag kang magsasalita. Otherwise, alam mo na mangyayari.
So the work of the military is being magnified or used to promote the terrorism of the real culprits or the real people behind it. In this case, the communists, the NPA. It does not improve the position, it just worsens it. Pero nakikisakay sila para gawing mas malala.
Yeah, but I'm referring to the military of yesteryear,
Okay,
not
okay.
the current military. No, they may have.
Ngayon, military. Let's go to that direct incident. Alam mo, wala gusto magsalita dito sa issues nito eh. Puro sinasabi, of course, investigasyon. Ako, unang tingin lang, sino naman magpapaputok ng makakamatay ang publiko? Di ba? Wala kang makukuha. Hindi kaya ng set crime that can all be set up and then basically there is a financial reward, an immediate financial reward. Of course, these people are being perpetuated by other groupings, di ba? But ito, papabomba ka na openly. Sino pa yan kundi mga komunista? Sino pa?
There was an open fear at the time that if Ninoy would rise to power, wala ang ambisyon nila nila Imelda, and the other people who were ambitious to take over after Marcos. Yan ang Kaya na sabihin niya ni Salonga, sabi ko, approaching to senility nga.
Well, siguro, sir, with due respect, alam nyo, nandun tayo. Kung ano man ang duda natin sa personalidad ni Salonga, well, it is right. Pero ang punto namin dito is, proven ito sapagkat marami na mga senior cadres mula sa Central Committee ng Communist Party na bumalik loob sa gobyerno ang nagpahayag nito. There are President Cordero, etc. na ang nagutos nito is Joma Sison.
Okay.
For the reason to create a quantum leap situation na pabor pa sa revolusyon. So sitwasyon, hinahatak lang natin kasi pinumpisa natin kanina, ang kaguluhan, ginagatungan, para lalong maging magulo, itong gusto ng komunista eh. Kaya guys, usapan natin kanina outside. Ang protracted people's war na sinusulong ng Communist Party of the Philippines, NPA-NDF, is not a war of annihilation. Hindi nila balak na patayin ang lahat ng armed forces o ang lahat ng mga miyembro ng PNP. In a protracted people's war, this is economic sabotage. Kaya tingnan nyo, saan naganap ang mga kaganapang pambobomba? Lahat, Makati. Bakit? Sentro ito di grabidad ng negosyo. Bakit? Madali itong makuha ng international public opinion. Bakit? Para mapakita na walang kapuang-muang ang gobyerno sa pag-handle ng sitwasyon. And besides, timely ha, ang sinentro, hindi ordinaryong mga manggagawa, kundi middle class. So something ang pinapaabot nila. Di ba? So itong sitwasyon, lalong pagulihin ang sitwasyon natin. Kaya ito ang malaking worry namin mga kababayan. Kung hindi tayo kumilos laban sa mga terorista na ito, at manatili tayo na magpaikot-ikot lamang sa kanya-kanyang interpretasyon, malulunod tayo balang araw, nakakainin tayo ng propaganda ng kalaban. Kasi sabi nga namin kanina, economic sabotage. So tingnan nyo, ang Pilipinas napakayaman na bansa. In Zambales alone, ang mina natin dyan, marami.
Mayaman ba tayo? O sabagay, kung kaya natin magbigay ng 50 million tuwing aalabas ng Chief of Staff, sigurado, Chief Justice sa Supreme Court, ganun din yan. Sigurado sa Senado, ganun din yan. Ganun din. Tingin ko, ganun.
Ibig sabihin, yung isang...
Ang mayaman, yung mga liderato, ang pobre, yung Pilipino sa baryo. Pero
kasi
sa syudad hindi, maayos tayo lahat. O, di ba?
Kasi hari, ang estado ng Pilipinas, mahina. Pero malakas ang organisadong puwersa ng mga magnanakaw sa loob ng sistema.
If you notice, Dr. Frank, I don't debate the issue with Tito Porras because we've had these discussions many times before with even Congressman June Alcover. And I actually do agree with them and I promote anti-communism as an advocacy is one of the things I always try to promote, to learn, to bring it up to the viewers. Kayo po, para malaman nyo, the communists do not sleep. It's 24/7. Government tends to sleep after 5 and wakes up in the morning again. Either way, ang komunista, hindi, it's creeping. Alam mo, I'd like to make it a little more complicated. Let's look at the current administration of Pinoy. This group is not exactly center or right. This government, before it became center stage, is actually leftist. Itong grupo nito, di ba? Ngayon, naging center stage na sila. Yung nga lang, yung komunista talaga the ones in the hardcore, yan talaga lumalaban yan. I never disagree with them because I agree with that. If we didn't have ANAD, well, they're already all over Congress. No? The representation has metastasized, so to speak. Buti na lang, sa lakas ng loob ni Congressman Alcober, he's never tiring and he always goes up and he says exactly what he feels. No fear yan eh. Malakas ang loob niya, dire-diretso. Kasi talagang buong-buo loob niya eh. What I don't understand is this government na gusto i-destabilize and identified naman to with the left before they became the administration today. Correct, Dr. Frank, di ba?
By lineage, from the father alone.
Exactly,
of
from
Pinoy.
Pinoy.
Yes.
Malakas ang leaning sa left.
Yes.
Ngayon, nasa gitna na sila. Sila ngayon administrasyon. Tuloy pa rin siyempre because ang Maoist naman, there is no real reason. It's just the word is stabilization. Correct? Ano yan eh? Kaya nga in-explain ni Mr. Porras, it's a protracted people's revolution to destabilize the economy, the society, and basically civility in general. Because that's when it steps in. But then it will corrupt again by itself. That's the problem. But here we have a situation that is aggravating again. It's beginning to rise. Temperatures are rising once again. Iyan ang pagbobomba. Do you think we're gonna see a lot more of this? Mukhang they're already, meron na sila eh, may momentum na eh, no? Will we see more crime?
Abi, sa tingin ko, mas marami pa. Ah?
In your magazine, alam nyo po, very quickly lang, when they come up, every week, the ANAD party list sends me a couple, if not one, at minimum of 2 press releases almost every week. And they come up with stories that do not hit the broadsheets here in Metro Manila. It doesn't hit the radio, electronic waves, TV and radio. And yet there's a lot of information that goes on in the field. Of course, the people being hit are not necessarily celebrities or leaders, correct?
Yes.
These are local leaders on the ground. And the murder continues. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is
Tama.
what I keep reading every week. Eh. Tuloy-tuloy
Salamat.
to. Pero ngayon, pumasok na nasa Central Business District na ng Makati. They want to get into the broadsheets. And they got into the front page, no less. Until now, hindi nila ma-identify sino. Pero ang bilis nila mag-disclaimer, ano?
Oh, ang bilis. So, by logic,
But natatakot sila, nahihiya sila sa kakagawa nilang terorismo?
oh, actually, ang mga komunista magaling maglubid ng kasinungalingan ito. Tingnan ninyo ha.
Galing mag-Tagalog. Ang lubid ng
Oh,
kasunungalingan. Ang husay. Sige.
Yan ang lingwahe.
Yan ang lingwahe. Sige.
Yan ang lingwahe nila. Tingnan ninyo. Habang sumisigaw ng human rights violation at di umano ang mga makinarya ng gobyerno ay mga pasista, mga berdugo, mga kung ano-ano pa, tinatabunan nilang ginawa nila. Nung unang umupo ko sa program nito, Hari, napag-usapan natin ang Barangay Rano, Digos, Davao del Sur na massacre. 39 na sibilyan, bata, matanda, ang pinagpapaslang ng mga NPA. But yet, hindi ito nakarating sa national media ho natin. At ang sabi ni Ocampo, isang tapos na ito na usapin. Oh, marami pang pinagpapatay. Before this ceasefire, last December, ilan ang namatay sa Agusan? Ilan ang namatay sa Samar? Ilan ang namatay sa Davao? Lahat kagagawan ng CPP-NPA. Hindi ito napag-usapan dito. Ang pinag-uusapan, sila lang palagi ang tama. Diba? So, something is wrong within our public opinion. Kaya ito sa usapin ng peace talk ngayon. Pag-usapan natin ng peace talk. Kasi dito, talong gobyerno eh. Tingnan nyo. Sa peace talk, ang umaharap, Luis Halanduni. Pagtanungin mo, sino si Luis Halanduni? Consultant siya ng NDF. Pagtanungin mo, sino si Jose Maricison? Consultant siya ng CPP-NPA. So we are talking here in a phantom organization. Bakit tayo magkipag-peace talk? Besides, armado sila. Sabi nga ni Congressman June Alcover, ang proposal is this. Why not kayo na mga rebelding NPA, itago nyo man ang armas nyo. The Armed Forces PNP, back to barracks. Walang armas. Mag-usap tayo. Ayaw nila ng ganon. Because they are not sincere. Ang gusto nila, maghasik ng lagim, maglasip ng katarantaduhan sa lipunan ho natin. At the same time, gagamitin lamang sapagkat magaling gumawa na instrumento lamang ang peace negotiation na ito para lalong makonsolida, lalong isulong ang pambansa demokratikong revolusyon ng CPP-NPA.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to take a short break. On the inner part of the magazine, very quickly, you'll notice again one more time. Laila De Lima is already, she hogs the limelight as well. In the bottom, you'll see that there, you see, there you go. The lady wolf is crying, the lady is loudly crying wolf. And on top, of course, you have Duterte. There are more issues that need to be discussed. Alam niyo po, tayo, we only know what is made available to us as far as information. So we as executives or people basically, as a body politic even, we're only as good as information that reaches us. Otherwise, like you and like the others who don't know what to say or do. Stay with us. Let's learn more together. We have Dr. Grego with us. We have Tito Porras from ANAD. There's a lot more issues to be discussed.
Balikan natin yung tanong.
Hello, my name's Harry Tumbuatco. Welcome to the second half, or after the break, of Talk to Harry. With us, we have Dr. Frank Grego, Congress Magazine historian, and lead convener of the Most Outstanding Congressman Award, which will be staged on February 16 at the Manila Hotel. We have from the ANAD, Alliance for the National Democracy, we have Tito Porras, who is Vice President nationwide for the Party List Group. Gentlemen, kung saan tayo tumigil kanina bago tayo nag-break, no? Tama si Dr. Greg, gusto niya, you want to emphasize more on the issue. Can we expect more terrorism? Point of view.
Well, the expectation is always there. But the question should have been, is it alarming?
Is it?
It's not. Remember that for 10 years, there were only 4 bombings. The Valentine bombing, the Rizal Day bombing, and the latest.
LRT.
LRT and the latest. In 10 years, 4 bombings, that's nothing. So we should not be alarmed. But more are coming. Because there are some groups who would like to invite attention. Yung tinatawag na papansin na grupo. Papansin na grupo. But let's assure the people not to be so much alarmed.
You don't think the passion and the presentation of Mr. Porras in the first part of this show was
Alarming.
Yes. Relentless, and the communists are continuously gaining ground? You don't think we should be alarmed with their presence? We already know they are in Congress. They're represented heavily, and people in Metro Manila and all over the country don't know who they're following. They're
Yes.
called party list groups.
Yes,
Now,
but the question is it legal or illegal? What is alarming is when it is illegal, meaning underground. But here these people have come out. We are now able to identify them. We now know their techniques. their strategies, we know how to combat them
yeah, but
in
the strategy-
fighting them in an open arena than before, wherein we don't know where to fight them, when to fight them, and where are they for us to pursue in fighting them.
But the tactic of the New People's Army, the communists, is terrorism. It's still underground, it's still criminal. Nevertheless, it continues, it pursues as terrorism. Whether they've come out and represented themselves, it is still an affront to society. It maims society, it murders the innocent.
In your premise, at the start of the program, Harry, you were asking practically to define Tito Porras what is communism,
Yes.
but it was not answered.
No, no,
In answer to your question now, I would say that the aim of communism is not actually terrorism. The very aim of communism is, first, let's go into the generics and specifics of the term. Communism. Communism, the root word of that is community. Okay. The practice of the community is the ism, ISM. The thinking of the community is the ism. Now, what is communism? It is a doctrine of common ownership of the means of production by the state. In other words, their main aim is to is for the entire community, society, or the whole nation to own the properties of the state, commonly on equal sharing. And we are adapting that now. We are practicing communism now. You go to communal irrigation system. In every area where the river passes through, yung communal irrigation system, everybody benefits. That is common ownership, a practice of communism in irrigation system. Cooperativism, that is communism. That is a practice of the community of common ownership, which is the very ideology of communism. As to terrorism that Tito Porras is trying to say earlier, well, that's a different thing. That is not the practice of communism. That is the practice of anarchism or...
But in this
whatever.
country, they identify themselves as the Maoist movement under communism. Correct? It's the same thing. Okay. Ikaw mag-depend niya. Maganda yan. Sige, sige.
Ang pinaka-problema kasi natin dito, masyado nating nilagay sa intellectual na level ang usapan ng mga komunista sa bansang Pilipinas. Okay. Communal irrigation, bahagi ito ng natural at responsable na pamumuhay natin sa isang demokratikong sistema na nilagyan lamang ng kulay. It all started with the Das Kapital of Karl Marx, na kung saan maging pantay-pantay daw ang lahat. Ang aplikasyon sa Pilipinas ng sistema ng komunismo ay nakabatay sa interpretasyon ng Marxismo, Leninismo, kaisipang Mao Zedong. This is very organized and very brutal. Anong sabi ni Mao Zedong na siyang pinakasanto ng mga CPP-NP at mga legal na organisasyong ito? This country will only progress kung matumba natin ang naghaharing uri. And this is not this kind of pagtumba, pag-demolish ng mga exploitative structure is through violent means. This is not a dinner party nor a picnic. Isang violente na pagtumba ng naghaharing uri. At yan ang ginagawa nila ngayon. Para daw maitatag ang pambansa demokratikong gobyerno na kung saan sila ang nangunguna. Delikado ito. Sapagkat gaya kanina, may mga posibilidad pa ba na may terorismong mangyayari sa ating bansa? Marami. In fact, ang pagbobomba ho sa EDSA is only a drop in a bucket sa mga nangyayari sa rural areas. Yung pagputol ng mga saging sa Davao just because hindi nagbayad ng revolutionary taxation ang mga kumpanya. Ang pagsunog ng mga bulldozer, backhoe, truck, ni ang pagsunog ng poultry ni Congressman Garay dahil hindi nagbayad ng revolutionary taxation sa NPA. Tuloy-tuloy yan. Hindi yan nakita dito sa national media. And bihira ang bumabanat sa mga issues nito sapagkat natatakot sa NPA. Doon ang worry namin. This is our worry. Kasi, sabi nga ni Congressman Alcover, ang focus ng kalaban ng demokrasya sa Pilipinas, isabotahe ang ekonomiya ho natin. sa pamamagitan ng pag-terrorize, pagsabotahin ng lahat na proyekto sa rural areas para mapahina ang ekonomiya natin. Ano nangyari? Porque magulo sa kanayunan, napunta ang mga agricultural workers, farm workers natin sa syudad. Pagdating sa syudad, dagdag sa underemployment, dagdag sa unemployment. Resulta, these very social issues ang siyang ginagamit ng LFS, Gabriela, Bayan, etc. against the government. Wala tayong magagawa sapagkat lehitimo eh. So, go back to the basic issues. Ang panggugulo ng mga terorista na ito. Ano man ang sistema, ano mang sasabihin natin, it all goes back sa terrorism. Tingnan nyo. As we've mentioned in our book, Atrocities and Lies, from 1968 up to early part of 1980s, 1.7 trillion ang nawala sa ekonomiya ng bansa. Direct and consequential investment. Yung planta ng Ford, supposed to be sa Pilipinas yan. Eh saan na ngayon? Sa China. Anong naiwan sa atin? Beer house.
In other words, Tito, you are against the coming out of the communists by joining Congress. Joining Malacanang, andyan na sila Rocamora. Sino pa ito?
No names, no names.
Pero they're open. Open sila. Joel Rocamora, yung sa Urban Poor, di ba? The other one, sinitong nabigla lang, agad hindi ko malala. But practically in the cabinet, sub-cabinet, in the
political
commissions, political advisor si Llamas. Ronald, oo. Meaning, andyan na. So, we should welcome it. We should like it. Because they are there. We know now whom to fight.
Well, Professor.
Unlike before na nakatago sila, hindi natin alam.
Tama yun.
They should be, palakpakan natin.
We do welcome them, actually. We do welcome them, friends. Sapagkat desurface and join the mainstream. Ang problema, sina Joel Rocamora, sina Eta Rosales, hindi problema yun eh.
Human rights.
Ang problema dito, ang mga mawista. Ikaw, Teddy Casino, Colmenares, Bayan muna, Gabriela, etc. Kayong problema eh. Kung bumalik kayo sa mainstream ng gobyernong ito, join us in condemning the atrocities of the communist terrorists. But hence you could not, then komunista pa kayo. Di ba? Tinatarantado yung demokrasya ng Pilipinas eh. Anong sabi ni Congressman Alcober? I am very open to shake hands with you kung bitawan nyo ang armadong pakikibaka. Alam mo, Professor, intindihin natin. Ang CPP-NPA-NDF is launching a two-pronged warfare. Legal and parliamentary and armado na pakikibaka. Ang legal at parliamentaryong pakikibaka, ito ay binubuo ng National Democratic Legal Organizations nila under the National Democratic Front.
Teka, isang second lang. Nakabihag na rin kayo eh. Ay bakit si Alex Padilla nasa inyo?
Alex Padilla?
Yeah.
Is he with us?
Dating leftist yun eh. Up to now,
I beg
pero
to
nasa
disagree
inyo
with
na
you,
eh.
Your Honor. I beg to disagree with you, Your
Nakabihag
Honor.
na rin kayo.
I beg to disagree na nabihag natin. Ikaw, kinatawan ka halimbawa hari ng gobyerno. Sasabihin mo na, mas maganda pa siguro makipagtulungan sa NDF para sugpuin ang mga kalukuhan sa gobyerno. Anong klaseng negotiator ka? And you are representing the Republic of the Philippines. Kaya tama to sinabi ni Congressman Alcober kanina sa isang interview. Duda siya sa personalidad ni Alex Padilla. Duda siya sa personalidad ng isa pang abogado dyan, Sanidad.
Bihag nyo na nga eh.
Hindi. We don't think so.
Nasa side
Kung
nyo na.
bihag nila, then we'll talk against this. Konsultahin nila ang mga biktima ng terorismo ng NPA. Inupakan. Ilang bangkay ang nakuha doon, ng iba'y kalansay na, mayroon pang busal, mayroon pang kadena. 300 plus.
Are you thinking of the purge?
The purging operation, which is 10,000 plus ang biktima ng NPA. Pero hindi ito naging parte. Ang tono ngayon, parang pupunta tayo sa coalition government eh. Have we not read about the experience of Nepal? O ano ba kayo? Tulog na lukan? Gusto ba natin ang mangyari yan sa Pilipinas? You see? balikan ko yung punto. Dalawang anyo ng pakikibaka ang ginagawa ng CPP-NPA. Legal at parlamentaryo. Yes, nandyan sila sa Kongreso, nandyan sila sa loob ng gobyerno. But following the dictum, use democracy to destroy democracy. Enter the government to destroy this government. O anong nangyayari ngayon? Legal nga sila. Welcome natin sila. But yet, they are not condemning the armed struggle. Ano karami na, ilang milyon na ang nawala sa Pilipinas? Ilang daang libo na ang namatay because of this. Tatay pinatay ang kanyang anak, anak pinatay ang tatay, si Balwig pinatay ng kanyang kapatid because of this Maoist ideology. You see? Yan ngayon ang nangyari sa atin. We are not emotional on this aspect, mga kaibigan. Nababahala ho kami. Come to think of this. Ilan sila sa Kongreso ngayon? May mga segue
Siyam.
ng mga makakaliwa sa loob ngayon ng Malacanang.
10, ano?
What will happen in 2013? What will happen in 2016? Kagaya nitong isang gobernador, mabuti ka natalo eh. Kung na-remember mo yun, sabi niya, mas maigi pang mag-alaga ng isang squad na NPA kasi isang sundalo.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are shows that make me keep quiet. This is one of them. I get dumbfounded because I'm not qualified as far as the information that is not brought forward. Because I too am in the dark when it comes to specific details of information. I enjoy the passion and the presentation of the ANAD party list, most especially Tito Porras, and even if June Alcover were here, the representative of the ANAD, you too would enjoy that. Some 2-3 weeks ago, we had both of them in another program with Eric Espina, together with General Palparan,
Yes,
who has been tainted supposedly to be the butcher. Now, we rarely hear of this side, simply because mainstream media has taken on the other side. Now, whether there is civility or, as Dr. Grego puts it, they have opened up and come into government. The point that Vice President for the ANAD group, Tito Porras, is saying is be on the watch, because as they are there, they're using democracy to break and tear apart democracy. Now, we've got a couple more minutes left, so very quickly I'd like to give the parting words of our guests. So it will stay with you to help you understand exactly the issues we've been discussing. Terrorism and crime. Naiba ba? It's one and the same. Tito Porras, your message to our public, viewing public.
Last time na nakasama ko sa program na ito ni Harry, sabi niya, napakaiksi ng oras pag kaming humarap sa camera. Yet, napakaiksi nga. 1 hour na pala. Well, mga kasama at nakikinig sa atin, nanonood sa atin, it's high time. Alam po ninyo, ang kasinungalingan ay hindi pwedeng pantabon sa karumal-dumal na krimen na ginagawa ng CPP-NPA sa ating bansa. Huwag ho tayong magpasalikop palagi sa takot. Ako, ilang beses ako inambos ng NPA. Si Congressman June Alcover, 3 beses na inambos yan ng mga NPA. Sabi ho nila, may memorandum na pinalabas ang Military Commission ng NPA noong bago mag-eleksyon. Nitong nakaraan lang. Huwag patagalin hanggang May 10 election si Palparan at si Alcover. Pero buhay pa sila hanggang ngayon. Nakikita lamang natin, kumikilos tayo. Lumalawak ang ating pwersa. Kaya kami sa ANAD Party List, ang paniniwala ho namin, this is a political problem. And hence, this is a political problem. Si Congressman Alcover ngayon may panukala na dapat ang counterinsurgency ay ilipat sa civilian. DILG dapat itong humawak nito. Sapagkat ang mga sundalo ho natin are trained when to shoot, how to shoot, where to shoot. Ang kalaban natin, trained when to talk, how to talk, where to talk, and how to shoot. Ibig sabihin, ang susi ho dito, edukasyon sa taong bayan. Manatili ho na sumusubaybay sa program ho nito ni Harry. At of course, sa iba pa naming mga publications, sundan ho ninyo. Sa Facebook, sa internet, meron ho kami dyan. Maraming salamat, Harry, at magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. O magandang gabi sa lahat.
Thank you very much, Tito Porras. Before I give you Dr. Grego with his parting words, we'd like to congratulate Congressman June Alcover. He will be awarded Most Outstanding Congressman this February. Dr.
Maraming
Grego?
salamat.
Yeah, I confirm that, Harry, because we had 3 series of deliberations, and it always came out that John Alcover has done a great service for his at-large constituency. He is really an outstanding congressman, one of the 30 most outstanding congressmen. Yeah. And of course, this will be presented formally on February 16 at the Manila Hotel as usual, because this is now the 19th year of the annual award ceremonies to the 30 most outstanding congressmen based on their resolutions, proper bills, a number of projects that they have accomplished, ongoing, or to be started but already funded, their rapport with the people, and of course their good relation and attendance, their skating privilege speeches, and active participation during committee hearings. And Harry will be there as usual. He's a member of the board, by the way.
Ganun. Salamat,
The members
salamat.
of the board are Dr. Larry Hinares, the economist, the industrialist, the former Deputy Speaker Alfredo Morambueg,
Okay.
I, and Harry.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Before anything else, we've got some gifts we're going to give to Dr. Grego. Lakalut from Germany. It's available in your
Maraming salamat.
local drugstores.
Thank you, Harry.
imported.
Thank you for
When
this.
it comes to your teeth, don't. It's prudent not to skimp and save. Have the best for it. Ladies and gentlemen, there you are. There you have it. You have the analysis. There you have the presentations. What is presented to you is not entertainment. This is not to make any of us more dramatically, how do you say it, popular. That's not the issue. The content of what is talked about and what is brought to you is what needs to be celebritized. So you and I can guard ourselves, our economy, our civility, our freedom. Democracy may not be the best. Did Churchill say that? Problem is that's all we have. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. Ako po si Harry Tambuatco. This is Talk to Harry. Stay with us for more. Coming up next week, same time.
You are what you watch.